My apologies, everyone. I know I probably look like a trash bag right now, but it's about 1,000,000 degrees with like 1,000,000% humidity. The window is open behind you, so you can probably hear all that construction noise that's happening right now, but this is the best I can do at the moment. Hey guys, so it's the end of the semester, and every so often I like to do one of these kind of like update videos for where I am with my anxiety, with my OCD, because it seems like these are the kind of videos that you guys like to see the most, and this is kind of the most interactive type video that I do, where you guys talk about your own struggles in the comments and all that stuff, and it's kind of like, it's therapeutic in a way for me to be able to talk about it with people that understand. So we're going to talk about some stuff today. Basically how I've been doing with my anxiety, any ways it's changed, any new things that have happened. But before we get into that, there's something that I want to mention, and that's that I'm thinking of potentially starting a Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's just a way for creators to crowdfund on almost like a subscription type basis. So for example, if you are interested in participating, pledge $1, $3, $5 monthly, or you know, whatever it is. And for all those different price tiers, there's different rewards. So I'm interested in hearing what you guys would be interested in as far as rewards. Like, is this something you would think is cool? What kind of things would you like to see? So there's a couple different problems as far as like things that we would have to approach. One, I know that you guys, like, my biggest viewership is for my anxiety videos, but I don't know how comfortable I feel like offering any kind of rewards in that realm. Like, I'm not a professional. I just talk to you guys about my own experiences and, you know, what I think is important. But, you know, if you'd be interested in polls that would gauge what types of things I could talk about in videos, or you know, different types of things that you guys would like to see, and then maybe a reward would be like, we could do some kind of almost like a hangout or something, maybe a Google hangout or something monthly, to talk about anxiety or anything really. Also, I mean, a reward that I could offer, like, I am an artist, I'm a painter by trade, and you know, that's what I'm professionally trained to do. So I could offer physical rewards, but then there's the issue of like sending them while I'm in China. I don't know if that's like really a possibility. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in an upcoming vlog that I can link for you once it comes out. It should be out after this video, I guess shortly after this video. So keep your eye out for that. Once it's up, I will put it in the cards. But yeah, I'd be interested to know what kind of things you guys would like to see, if you'd even be interested in contributing to a Patreon. Some of you guys have asked about buying my artwork, so I could offer that, like I said, as a tier. Potentially I'm thinking like artist trading cards. If you don't know what those are, it's basically like just like a one-of-a-kind, I think it's like 2x5 by like 3x5 or something, I forget. I used to make them to sell, and that was really fun. So yeah, I don't know, we'll see. We can talk about that later. You can give me your ideas. I'm of course here for any suggestions you have, because this would be really, you know, what rewards you would want. So I'm down to listen, offer your suggestions. But anyway, let's talk about what this video is about. So if you watch any of my vlogs, I started out the semester real strong. First night back in China with a panic attack. I'll link that above in the cards if you haven't seen that vlog. But I recorded some of that, you know, me talking through my panic attack and kind of just talking about the experience, what I was feeling, all that stuff, all my thoughts, all that fun stuff that if you are blessed to have anxiety like I do, then you know the feeling. That's kind of where I started, and it's only been snowballing since then for the past few months. I just want to talk about a few things that my anxiety has picked up on, or things that have been causing me anxiety or triggering my OCD. Some of them are old things, some of them are old things with like a twist, and some of them are pretty new. So the first time I remember this happening was actually last semester. It was on Christmas, because I was at a dinner with my friends for my friend's birthday, which falls on Christmas, and it was also like a Christmas dinner. I think I actually might have mentioned it in a past vlog, like not really thinking anything of it. I like mentioned it, not realizing that it was going to be an ongoing problem for, you know, several months now. But we were having dinner and I suddenly had a panic attack while I was eating, had a strong urge to throw up. I don't know what happened there, but it's kind of stuck with me through eating, but not like when I'm alone. It's more like when I'm in public or when I'm eating with other people. I feel very nauseous. I feel nauseous before knowing that I'm gonna be eating with people or knowing that I'm gonna be in a group setting. You know, I couldn't really pinpoint what it was. At first I thought it was like I was afraid to throw up. Ooh, there's birds. I can't really say it's like a fear of mine, but it's like obviously the feeling of like you're going to throw up and like everyone's gonna see you throw up is not a comfortable feeling. But I don't think that that's like really where that was coming from. I think, and I've tracked it through other things that have been making me anxious and making me uncomfortable. I think it's more feeling trapped or feeling like all eyes are on me type thing. So when this first happened, y'all, are you for real? Can you go ride your motorcycle somewhere else? When this first happened on that day on, you know, Christmas, I was sitting at a round table with a bunch of people that was pushed into the corner. So I was in that corner seat. So I could not easily get up and leave if I needed to without like either pushing the table or having everyone else in my, you know, in the way of like, it was like 15 people at this round table, having everyone else get up and push in their chair to let me out. So I think being trapped is like really what this is centering on. That's kind of where I'm betting on, because I've also been experiencing that similar kind of like, oh, I'm gonna throw up, or like, oh, I'm really nauseous, or oh, I feel trapped when I'm in a car, like in a taxi or something, on a bus. I think I also mentioned in a vlog I had to get off the bus at some point when I was going somewhere because I thought I was going to throw up. I thought it was motion sickness, or I thought it was whatever, but it was like accompanied with a feeling of panic. Like I need to get out, like I need to, you know, leave whatever situation I'm in and get somewhere else. So it's been in a car, on the bus, on the plane, and also like in other situations where I can't really leave. So if I'm like with somebody at the movies, or if I'm in an elevator, or yesterday I was getting my nails done, and like while the girl is like holding my hands, you know, doing whatever she's doing, I started to feel that feeling like, oh my god, I have to, like, what if I have to get up? What if I have to throw up? What if I have to, you know, like go to the bathroom? What if I feel sick? What if like I can't easily get out of the situation? And this has been bleeding into other parts of my life as well. Of all the anxiety that I've experienced, I never really had issues with like public speaking or like social anxiety or anything like that. That has been an issue for months now. My job, when I go back to the States, some of you guys might know, I teach painting classes to groups. So it may be up to 40 people. And I've done that job for years and never really had an issue. Of course, when you speak publicly, you might have like a surge of adrenaline, or you might have a little bit of jitters or whatever, and I think that's pretty normal. I think that happens to everybody. But now it's almost like crippling in a way. Last time I was home, I couldn't do my job. So I'd get up to talk in front of people, even if it was small groups, even if it was kids. I would really start to feel like I'm gonna throw up and feel like I'm, you know, have this panic come on as soon as I start talking, and I'll get out of breath, hyper aware of what I'm feeling and what I'm doing, like hyper aware of how my breathing is, hyper aware of how I'm blinking, how like my mouth feels while I'm talking, because I'm trying to stay like conscious, like trying to ward off fainting or something. It's, again, I think it's like all eyes are on me. I can't just like leave the situation because I feel anxious. I can't just like go. It's like sometimes 40 people are watching me, waiting for me to do something. And it's also happened in class too, a couple times, where the teacher will like call on me, or I'll have to present something, I'll have presentations to do, and I'll like be out of breath. I won't really know like what I'm talking about. Like I feel like I'm just like word vomiting because I'm like panicking and I'm talking like this, you know, trying to like like say it all really fast or something. I don't, like, it's very, very strange. But I think it all has to do with that like feeling of being trapped. And I don't know necessarily that that's associated with OCD. I don't really know. There is that like, what if I can't get out? Like, what if I pass out? What if I throw up? What if, you know, whatever. And it's embarrassing, you know, everyone's looking at me and I'm like, you know, freaking out, whatever. I don't know if it's as noticeable to everyone else as it is to me. Probably not. It's just like not a comfortable situation to be in. I'm having trouble powering through it. With anxiety, you just have to do it, you have to face it and just not let it control you. And I'm having trouble with that. This one is, you know, I am avoiding a lot of situations. I'm avoiding eating with people, like find ways around making presentations. Like I don't want to go to work anymore. I don't, you know, I'm making allowances for myself, and that I think is a learned coping mechanism for OCD. Like avoidance is a big part of that I know that I have to work on, and I told you guys that avoidance is a big problem for me. So I know that like I might have this normal like anxiety thing that I'm using like OCD type mechanisms to cope with, and it's not great. I know where my faults are and I know what needs improvement, and that's kind of the important thing, is that I'm, you know, I'm working on it, and that's really what you can hope for, is that you just get better. So I mentioned some issues with hyper awareness, and something new that I think is related to OCD is hyper awareness when I'm eating alone. And that is, I am suddenly very aware of the fact that I could, out of nowhere, very suddenly develop a food allergy or something. So I'll be alone in my house, and I'll be eating something, and all of a sudden I'll start to, like, it'll hit me, it'll dawn on me, like, what if I'm allergic to this thing that I'm eating? And then I start panicking, and I start to be very hyper aware of how I'm breathing, how my throat feels. If my breathing feels like it's labored in a way, if my tongue feels like it's swollen or tingly or itchy or anything like that, I'll be hyper aware of how I'm blinking, you know, or trying to see whether I'm conscious or not. And I'll be hyper aware of just how I feel in general, how my body feels, how I'm perceiving things. Like I'll be looking around, you know, does my vision seem blurred? Does it seem whatever? I'll do a lot of checking things, like I said, checking how my tongue feels, looking at my tongue, does it look swollen? And then I'll have that like urgency to like kind of get out of my house and like get into a different environment, maybe go take a walk in public or something, so that if I pass out or something, like at least I'm not alone, maybe someone would help me. I don't know. I've never really had allergies. I don't have any food allergies or really any other allergies to speak of that I know of, but it's like very scary, the idea that they can kind of develop out of nowhere. So I am having issues with that, and just the awareness of what my body is doing, and that like, what if I, you know, what if I die? What if you can fill in the blanks for like how that is going to go if you know, deal with OCD, and you know how that thinking goes. So that's a new one. That really only started happening a couple months ago. It's not great. It's a scary feeling, because I'm like, what if I'm going into anaphylactic shock? Like, I don't know what that feels like. This could be it. So I've been dealing with a little bit of that recently. It's not all the time. It has been happening, you know, at least weekly or something. It's been pretty frequent that it's happening. So I also haven't yet found a way to successfully kind of deal with those thoughts. Ideally should be like, yeah, well, maybe I am having a reaction. Maybe, you know, I'll sit here and I'll die. That's, you know, what I have to do. That's how you kind of have to approach that thought. I'm not quite there yet though. Like I said, I know what needs work. That's half the battle, I think, is recognizing when there's a problem and knowing what you should be doing to address it. And now one that's really not new, but is kind of proving to be a consistent problem is this fear of insanity, or, you know, what's perceived as crazy or whatever, which seems like a really harsh word, but it's something that we talk about a lot, I think, in this OCD community of like, what if I'm crazy and I don't know it? And I know that a lot of you guys have expressed this fear as well when I've talked about, you know, in other videos, asking you guys what your thoughts are, or like what your OCD themes are and all that stuff. This one is commonly named. So some of the situations that I find myself in are pretty benign. I'll walk outside, and since I do live in China, I stand out quite a bit where I live, so people are often looking at me, and I'll start to be like, oh my god, are they looking at me because I forgot to get dressed or something like that. Like I'll start to like did I forget to put pants on? But you know, something like that would indicate like I did something very strange and I can't account for the time, you know, kind of along those lines. Or another one, I'll like go to the bathroom and then I'll be like, wait, what if I'm not actually in the bathroom right now? Like I'll sit down to pee and I'm like, what if I'm not actually in my bathroom? What if I'm outside like on a bench or something and I don't know it? Like I'm perceiving this as my bathroom, but really everyone is seeing me outside like drop my pants and pee on this bench. And I'll start to like worry about that. I'm like, how can I know that I'm actually here right now doing like this in my bathroom? Again, how I have to approach that is just be like, yeah, well, you don't know. Like you have to just accept the uncertainty that, yeah, maybe you are, you know, having major perception problems and maybe you are outside and maybe everyone is seeing you, you know, peeing on this bench. Something like that. You just have to kind of approach it with that way and like, well, you can't be sure. You don't know. You can't answer that uncertainty issue. That's just, you have to accept it. It could be like, what if I lashed out and I don't realize it? Or what if I have said something really awful, like screamed something terrible, racist or hurtful or just whatever at the top of my lungs? Like you're looking around trying to see if everyone is reacting to you in a way that like would suggest that you did something that you don't remember or like can't account for time. And that's something I've also talked about in a different vlog. When I was giving a presentation, I like couldn't account for the time of giving that presentation, and that was really scary to me. And I think that was just anxiety induced, and I was kind of like, you know, wanting to get it done and overly tired and all that stuff. I've talked about it already. That kind of feeling is really scary, and it's just approaching it with the same kind of idea of like, well, maybe I did do something really crazy. Maybe I did. Maybe I will. Maybe I am not conscious right now. Maybe, you know, I will not remember this, because you're relying on your own perception of yourself and of your actions, and you're trying to perceive other people's perceptions of you and your actions or their reactions to what you think your actions might be. And that's a hard thing. You know, again, you can't answer those questions. I'm trying not to let it influence how I do go about my day-to-day activities, but once again, like I said, avoidance is an issue for me that I'm still working on. Reassurance in various ways is a thing that I'm still working on. That's how it is. Like I always say, always, it's about maintenance, not a cure. So many people have messaged me and asked if I'm cured, or like, you know, if it still bothers me, you know, my OCD and all that stuff with all the videos that I've made about it. I just tell you guys the same thing. You know, it's going to be an ongoing thing. You have strings of good days, strings of good months, and then you have bad ones. That's naturally just how fighting this type of thing is. You do great and then you do not so great. But the important thing is that over time, with each relapse that you have, you do better than the last one, because each time that it's happened, hopefully you've gained different tools and are equipped with more information and more knowledge on how to treat yourself in these types of situations when unfortunately things aren't going as well as they used to. It's just an ongoing battle, and it's something that we have to live with and, you know, just learn to help ourselves with, help our friends that are struggling, tell our friends how to help us when we're struggling. These are the cards that we were dealt, and that's just how it goes sometimes. So as usual, you guys can leave comments below how your anxiety has been, what your OCD themes are. If you have any, of course, as always, leave comments and let me know how you're doing. I do always read the comments. I try to get to comment back on as many of them as I can. But like I said, I do at least read them, because if you guys can take the time to watch my videos and comment, the least I can do is take a second to read what you've said and hear you out. If you have any suggestions for any other topics that you'd like me to talk about, you can of course leave that below as well. If you're interested in that Patreon thing, let me know if you think it's a good idea. Let me know if you're interested in any specific rewards, anything like that. And I guess that's it for this video. So I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.